So, here you are, having bought your beast of a PC along with your nice interface. Maybe you have a project or two running, but mixing from your bedroom right next to your conveniently sound-absorbing teddies doesn't feel quite right, does it?
That is when we come to the rescue and tell you 5 things to look out for when designing your first studio. 1. Deciding on your direction.
2. Budget allocation.
3. Designing steps.
4. Non-musical stuff.
And 5.
We are aware that planning and designing a recording studio is a huge topic to cover in a small episode, but we are called Digitips, not Digi-seminars, so... 1. First things first. And before you wander off dreaming about your stacks of outboard, take a minute and think about what your ultimate goal is. Is it being able to produce a demo or two, have a more ergonomic and workflow-oriented space, or have a full-on commercial studio?
There is a different approach with each one, so decide on your soundproofing and treatment requirements. Will you need just one mixing room, or will you also need a live room? Maybe both too? Do you want to record live bands or track by track? Decisions. If, for example, you're only producing electronic music, a live room and an array of mics and pre's would be a waste of precious funds that could be easily invested in a compressor, a more accurate monitoring system, and a well-balanced room. 2. Budget allocation is quite important and you should have the greater picture in mind. Yes, a mic pre in the whereabouts of 1 or 2 grand will give you better quality recordings, but not in an untreated room.
Okay guys, I got it. I will split my money for my room and my space.
But not exactly, Mr. Excited. Budget through our experience should be split in 4 parts. 1 for the space.
1 for the stuff that keeps you up at night.
1 for the gear that you've never thought you would need.
And 1 for the promotion. What would it offer to have your dream studio when no one comes to record anything? For your space, you should first do a rough design and evaluate the cost of the main materials, and after taking a deep breath in, double it. And you're roughly there.
Of course, you should include the working hours for the construction if you're not up to the task. For the second part of the budget, you should keep every bit of the signal chain approximately at the same quality ballpark. So, no 4,000 euro guitars recorded with a webcam mic, straight into state-of-the-art converters just to be played back on YouTube. No.
The third part of your precious money that most soon-to-be studio owners omit from their calculations is for the non-exciting pieces of gear like mic stands, for example, music stands, an instrument tuner,
Cables.
power protectors, and a dozen more stuff that don't have tubes and fairy dust on them.
Finally, a significant amount should be reserved for promotional purposes. Internet ads, pro bono work, investing in videos, talents, or branding in general. If it's not a commercial studio and it's for you and your buddies, go and spend that fund on something that will make the studio a more fun and exciting place to be. Beers and rum, a ping pong table, a gaming console and a huge screen, whatever.
3. Then there's the more technical stuff, like soundproofing and sound treatment. Soundproofing is a rigorous process, because it will define when you will be able to work, and for example, now it's 2 AM in the morning, and I can go as loud as I like! It will also dictate the dynamic range of your recordings, noise from the outside world, and the ability to monitor only the signal that is being picked up by the microphones.
Sound treatment, on the other hand, will provide you with excellent monitoring conditions, so that you will be able to hear minute details and have perfect stereo image. And additionally, it will give you flat recordings with nice reverb and reflection that will be easier to work with in a mix.
For soundproofing, use thick insulated walls and heavy doors with perfect gaskets.
While for sound treatment, focus on placing absorbing materials in the room corners and in direct reflection points from the speakers.
All this will be discussed more thoroughly in a future episode.
So hold your horses! 4. There are many pieces of equipment that slip our mind when planning, because their job is to be there and do their job unnoticed.
And take a mic stand, for example. Who cares? Well, if you have ever placed a heavy pair of overheads only to find them touching your toms 10 minutes later because the stand decided to make a bow to your majesty, you would care. So you get the picture. Invest in quality stands for your microphones and your instruments.
Then there are all sorts of things, like direct injection boxes, well, okay, DIs, drum and guitar tuners, replacement parts like strings, drum heads, signal adapters of all sorts, cables, spare connectors, power supplies, music stands, drumsticks, picks.
You do love listening things, don't you?
Oh yes, I do. A second monitor, a power protector and conditioner.
Like my silky hair.
Quality furniture, a couple of HDDs, to a backup once in a while, you slothful bitch of... Anyways, stuff. Buy it.
And...
Drum roll, please!
Gear acquisition syndrome. It is time to buy all that shiny gear that will enable you to produce your music with unprecedented levels of quality.
Depending on your plan, that we hope you've already figured out by now, you will decide on your gear. First of all, determine the number of channels that you are required to record simultaneously.
Are you a hip-hop artist/engineer? Then one input for your mic would suffice. Do you need to track live drums, or even a whole band? Once this has been determined, create your signal chains according to the quality needed for each one and the budget available.
Let's say you only need 4 high-quality channels for your vocals, bass and drum overheads, and you can go away with the rest being a bit more budget-sensitive. Try to be versatile with your gear. Choose a very clean preamp, but also pick one with the character to play with. Don't fill your mic collection with only entry-level condensers. You would be better off with one quality condenser for your vocals and a handful of dynamics.
Excite your musicians by having various and desirable instruments and gear for them. It will be much more appreciated than having a €5,000 preamp. If you're recording stereo sources, try to have at least one stereo pair of microphones. Preamps maybe, compressors,
speakers.
Choose an interface and converters with reliable drivers, but don't obsess over their quality. Unless you are giving less than about €50 per channel, you will have a really decent setup, and there are other more crucial matters awaiting for your money.
Invest in a recording program that you are really comfortable to work with. Grab some plugins and of course invest heavily in a great pair of monitors.
Hopefully, we've shed some light on what's needed to be done to start your dazzling career with your brand new studio.
5 brief, but to the point tips that we definitely didn't follow. And now we ended up making YouTube videos. I'm George.
And I'm Bill.
And don't drop the mic. Keep it for your upcoming studio. It will come handy at some point.
Subscribe, please.
Please. Είμαστε γεννημένοι ηθοποιοί ρε πούστη.
Ναι ρε μαλάκα, πάμε. So, what seems to be the officer problem?
We are going one more bottle caps. Comfortable to work with. Comfortable. Comfortable. Oh. Work.